So I'm going to bring my husband, Andrew, on now. I'm so grateful that my husband actually stood up and took some initiative in his parenting. He could have just said, Lillian, you're the mum, you deal with this. I'm working, I'm, providing a living for my family. I'm the breadwinner here. I work long hours. You deal with it, right? He could have done that. And sadly, I hear a lot of dads have that kind of opinion even today in this generation. But he didn't. He stepped up, and back to back, we decided that if we were going to save our family, that we needed to do something pretty dramatic, because if we'd let things go the way they were going, it would not have been a pretty ending. I can guarantee that. So, Andrew, over to you. And I look forward to you sharing.
Thanks, Lillian. You can hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Great. I guess one of the first things we learned was the meaning of unconditional love. We always loved our kids, as does everybody, I hope. But what we learned was some of the things we were communicating with our facial reactions, screwing our faces up when something didn't please us, and in some way manipulating our relationship with our kids into making it so that they had to conform to what we wanted before they actually had and received love from us. And so it was a real learning for me to find out that I was actually putting conditions on whether I gave our kids love or not. And it tears me apart to think about it, to be honest, but it's quite a learning when you fully appreciate what you're doing. And because I guess one of the things we discovered in just stepping backwards a little is that if we had a revolting child in our house, then we created that revolt, because in some way we were actually holding back from giving unconditional love. And so we learned to make sure that we were communicating love in every transaction, every communication that we had with our boys had to be based on love. And although to somebody from the outside, because it's so easy to point at the hyperactive child and say there's something wrong with them, but to take on responsibility for changing and improving that relationship by saying that we share responsibility for creating this revolt was actually really quite empowering. Lillian and I found it liberating to have something that we could do to actively work towards fixing the situation that we created. So what did we learn? We learned so much over a 2-year period in coaching with a parenting coach. But everything what we learned was to communicate love in every single communication, and to never put conditions on that love in any way, shape or form. Here we are. I love these photos because it wasn't this way 15 years ago. If I had left it with Lillian, then maybe she'd have great relationships with the boys, but mine would have been dashed to hell because of I needed to change the way that I was communicating. And I guess working in people's homes, we hear people listen to us, and they're sometimes quite gobsmacked by the way that we communicate with each other. But absolutely everything that we say to each other is treating the other like a king. And that was one of our learnings, wasn't it, Lillian? That we were told that if we were willing to treat our son like a king for 2 weeks, he'd start reciprocating. And it was exactly right. It's from that point forward, everything changed. We just had to treat with respect, love, respect, and reverence as well. And nothing that and no communication could ever be allowed to drop our affinity for either of the boys. How worth it was it? How worth it? How do you think it is? I have this amazing relationship with our boys now. They're both amazing, amazing young men. And I know a lot of people say that about their kids, but damn, we're connected, you know, like I have the relationship that so few people have. And I got to tell you, we've worked actively to make it that way. It didn't just happen. Our upbringing didn't give us the tools that we needed to create that. And so we had to seek outside learnings. And it's really just through implementing the tools that Lillian teaches in her course on a day-to-day basis that we've managed to create this situation. Do you think it's worth it? Do you think, where do you think, or how do you think I would feel 15 years down the track, finding out that I could have actually done something about it and I didn't? And so it was time to step up as a father, as a husband, as a role model in our household, and learn to communicate everything based on love. And I am still getting back so much more than I could ever possibly give out. I am so grateful for these learnings.